Welcome everyone in another episode of At My Medicine. And today I am having a special guest, Ian, my dear friend and companionship in all the struggles, but also an amazing author. And we are going to talk about all things creative as usual. And I will let you, Ian, to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, Dorota, and thank you for inviting me. Just want to say how important this platform is, and I really appreciate being given the chance to share my experiences. Ian, 58 years old, although I don't look it, I hope. My mental health deteriorated in 2003 following an episode on an aeroplane, and the fear of the fact that we were going to make an emergency landing, and this led to dependency on alcohol, and I struggled for many years before I got the help I needed, with regard to reaching out, finding like-minded people, and from that led me to start writing. Something writing something I'd never done before. I worked with authors, proofreading, beta reading, which is where you receive advanced copies of a book. And this one particular author I would like to mention, her name is Joanna Starr, and she also writes under the name of Aria Evermore. She writes fantasy and sci-fi, and through working with her and her sort of saying you should write yourself, I decided to give it a go. And I'm 3 books down the line, and also this led to poetry, and that's, Dorota, how I met you, and you inspired me, and I'm blessed to say that Dorota helps me, her illustrations. Dorota draws how I feel, and that's an important point, is in art and creativity we find, we can find avenues to help ourselves that we didn't really know were there. Yes, reach out. Yes, talk to people, but also explore your creative side. Sorry,
Amazing. That's okay. That's, well, you said all very important things, reaching out, talking, embracing your creativity. Well, I'm the best example of what happens when you don't do that, embrace your creativity. For several years, I suppressed my creative urges and then ended up at very rock bottom, So important. You mentioned a dependency on alcohol and mental health issues. How do you cope with them on daily basis?
I look for the warning signs. I know when the dark cloud's coming over, and that is a time when I focus on the positives in my life. I reach out to my key workers, both through the Peer Road Project in Erith, which is a South London-based charity, and also Mind, which I'm sure a lot of you will have heard of, a lot of our viewers will have heard of. And I try and talk. I am blessed with an amazing support network through my family, my wife, my daughter, my mum, and my friends, of which you are one, Dorota. But yeah, I don't hide from the fact that I'm in a dark place at this very moment. I thought long and hard about whether I should come on today, but then I thought to myself, well, Ian, this is the truth. This is what life is. we don't know who we're going to be when we wake up. Um, Sometimes we're fabulous and shiny and life's great, and then other times it's not so good. Today, for various reasons, it's not so good. But I'm here, I'm breathing, and my support network is still around me, and that is so important. You're not on your own. Uh, you there is somebody out there who feels the way you do, who understands how you're feeling, and will give you the time to
Indeed.
listen.
Indeed, you mentioned a very important aspect that it's like it's not okay to be alone in it.
Mm.
And a dark cloud that may be hanging on the top of you, it's much easier to withstand the storm and withstand the rain when somebody is next to you, somebody who understands. So we come here to the aspect of finding like-minded people. And why do you think it's so important to be among like-minded people?
Um, because depression's a very lonely thing, and I call it horrible o'clock. But when if you suffer from what we suffer from, you'll find yourself at 3 a.m. in the morning sitting there thinking that you're the only, I call it horrible o'clock, and you're alone, and it's very easy to be very insular in your thoughts. But I found that this is not the case. You can reach out. You can ring the Samaritans at 3 o'clock in the morning and somebody will pick up the phone. Or you can wait until your friends, family, whatever, have got up, and you can ring them. And even you can ring them at horrible o'clock at 3 a.m. They don't mind. They understand what you're going through. And that's why it's so important. Reach out. You don't be on your own. Um, I'm on Facebook, Ian Halsey on Facebook. Reach out to me. Okay, I might not be up at 3 a.m. I might be, but I'll tell you one thing: will reply to you and and share my experiences and just tell you that hey mate, I understand. I know what you're going through. You don't have to.
So important, isn't it?
Absolutely, Dorota. You know, sometimes you don't need to even explain because words that person knows, and you just chat like we have done in the past. We just chat. We talk nonsense. We talk silliness,
Yeah.
but it's just
But it's that
it,
aspect that you are not alone, even if
absolutely
even if it involves either venting and
no,
swearing, or it involves talking nonsense, doesn't matter. But you
absolutely,
are able to talk to that person at
absolutely,
whichever perception and perspective you take. That like-minded people do understand, don't they? Sometimes you don't even need to talk about your mental health,
Mm.
and they know that they
Yeah,
understand you mid sentence, and that is why it's so important to find people who understand you.
100%, Dorota.
And
Um,
this
and
is how we met, isn't
yeah,
it?
no, it is. I came across your drawings through our. We. I hope you're okay, but we
Yeah.
were. It's a bit for me to say, but through Mind, the charity Mind, we were in a creative writing group together. Didn't know each other, and you had told me, or you just let the group know that you had a book of illustrations. I just looked at your illustrations and it was like, wow, this person draws how I feel. And I wanted to buy the book. So we consequently hooked up and, I'm pleased to say we've become really good friends. You have helped me enormously um, and shown me that, well, that you're not on your own, and and that there's things like mental health warriors. There's so many things out there that I can reach out to. But you've also shown me that through creativity, you can release so much pent up stress and energy that you can't. It's like when it's in your head and you can't cope, but then all of a sudden you can move it onto the page, through drawing, through writing, and it's art has been a revelation to me. And when I say about art, I don't just mean drawing, I mean creativity.
Yeah.
Whatever your creative mind is, your thing, whether it's drawing, writing, running, whatever, the motivation that to do your thing will, it'll help you.
It's about passion. It's like whatever passionate you feel about, it's something that needs to be embraced, because this is the channel via which you can get rid of that intrusive thoughts of the sorrow. And it's important to do that because, like you said, having this all the time in your mind, it's the same like living in overcrowded house, right? You can't breathe, you can't function, you don't have privacy, and so on and so forth. But when you evict one of illegal tenants in some way and put them on that page, you gave them a voice. So you gave your thoughts the voice, and therefore they will be less, disturbing in your head.
Definitely.
So, have you always been creative in writing, or did it happen a kind of recently?
No, I am a musician. I play guitar. I was in bands and whatever, but never really wrote anything. But my writing came after my breakdown, and I always immersed myself in books and the fantasy genre, because it was my way of escaping. It was my way of checking out of this world, which, I mean, just look at the news at the moment.
Oh my God, I can so relate to it. I remember that in youth, when I had the first onset of very severe depression, books were my saviors.
Yes.
I remember the time, about 2-3 weeks, that I was not leaving the house and reading book after book after book, and only then I believe I survived, because it is, like you said, it's an escape. You go to that world that somebody has described, and for a moment live there, and even if it's sad book and the character has problems, they are daily problems, right? So although you read about it, you are taking yourself away from your problems, your worries, and live through them.
No, exactly, Dorota. And that's where my reading is so important to me, because it's my time where I read sort of bits and pieces throughout the day, but my main reading time is when I go to bed. Annie and I go to bed about 10 o'clock because we're old people. And but then I will spend up to an hour and a half, and I will just read. And it's my comfortable place. It's my calm place. And that's why reading became so important to me. But I'd never thought about writing until, well, basically, Joanna, my author friend, said, Ian, can you? I said, I can't write. She said, can you write an email? And I said, well, yeah. She said, well, you can write a story. And it was like a light switch going on. And so from there, I started writing, and then the poetry came after it. I met you, who could interpret my writing into illustration, and it's Dorota, it's not an over exaggeration to say that it has saved my life. I promise you, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but this avenue of creativity, of art, of the people I've met through going down this avenue has saved my life. It's given me purpose. It's given me something to wake up to, because I say, oh, well, I feel a bit rubbish today. I'll just write, or I'll just write a poem. You saw my latest poem. My cat died last night, and the poem just took me about 5 minutes to write. It just flowed out of me, and I feel really good about that. I feel really positive that I've paid tribute to my family member. You know, I am one of the people that believes that pets are just as important. They are part of your family. I know that's me personally, and but yeah, and I feel better about it. I feel like I can come on today and speak with you in a positive way. I've shed my tears. I've done the crying, um, and now I'm celebrating him. And if I didn't have the the artistic avenue to explore, to go down, I don't know. I think maybe I'd curl up and become very insular, but I haven't. I've put it out there. I've posted it on Facebook. I've spoken to you about it, um, and that's important. That's
It's
what we need
amazing.
to do. Yeah,
It's amazing that creativity and any creative outcomes do serve like medicine,
one hundred.
because we can open. It's like, I think my grandma used to say that the paper will accept anything. You can pour the sorrow, you can pour the joy, you can swear, you
A
can
very wise lady.
exactly, and to the point that you can also achieve certain catharsis when something that you put on that paper
Mm.
is perhaps not to be seen by others. It might be a bit gore or upsetting. Therefore, you can shred it to pieces. You can put it into a fireplace,
Yeah.
and that way you dealt with it in some way, because this is what I think that causes the main issues with mental health, is this, that we keep it in. We
Mm.
keep it in, we brew it. It's like with the tea. If you take the tea back pretty early on, you will have quite weak. You keep it on, it will brew and become stronger and stronger. So
And then
that is the problem that causes us to go into that rabbit hole, isn't it?
100%, Dorota. I use the term reach out. I've got a load of analogies and things in my mind which are in my toolbox to enable me to cope with the good times and the bad times. But reach out is my key thing. It's if I get up and I feel rubbish, don't want to use any swear words, but you know where I'm coming from. I'll ring you, or I'll ring Simon at Pier Road, or I'll ring Christine at Mind, or other like-minded souls that I'm blessed to have in my friendship list. Um, and that gives me and also, I need to mention my gorgeous wife Annie, who has put up with me for 30 years. I can talk to her, and he knows exactly. She could tell before I can whether I'm going into a dark place or not. But I'm not alone, and I'd love the message to get across to like-minded people like ourselves: is we're not alone. There's a lot of us out there, and we understand how you're feeling because you understand how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And so it's a cliche, I know, but reach out. Just there's somebody out there who loves you, who will help you, who's got time for you, and there's nothing you can tell them that they've not already heard or
Yeah.
they've not already experienced.
Indeed, and very often, when like-minded people come together, they somehow, mostly when they are creatives, they pass that creativity, they inspire each other, And this is how your first book came about, isn't it?
I
It's called
forgot.
The Dusty Old Shop.
Annie?
That's okay.
No,
I have it.
I forgot. Oh, Dorota.
That's okay. Don't worry.
Annie, can you get me a dusty old shop?
Yeah, and there is a big funny story about that. That you wrote a poem, a beautiful poem, which I
did.
read. And then you read that poem aloud during our creative writing session. And I don't know why it is, but when there is something about the voice of the author or artist, that when you hear the words from them, you hear them a bit differently. So although I read the poem before you read it aloud during the creative session, when you read it, I had a kind of eureka moment and aha moment, or whatever it's called. And I started to see pictures, and I generally think and see pictures when I think. So you read that beautiful poem, and I started to see images, and I literally approached you straight after the session and bullied you into, we are doing a book. We are making it into
Everybody
a book because people need to hear.
Dorota, she's very scary.
Yeah, I am known as a bully. Yeah.
No, you're known. For me personally, you're known as a warrior and somebody who's helped me immensely. Shall I read it, Dorota? Is it the time?
You can, of course.
I would like to, but I would like to say that this book has only come alive through Dorota's artwork and her illustrations, and the front cover is all her work. I just wrote a few words. This lady turned it into something magic, and I would like
Let's
to
listen to it. It's a
now,
very good story.
if you don't mind. Okay, there's a dusty old shop at the end of the street where nobody seems to go, and there's magic in there that could ease your despair, but nobody seems to know. There are books on the shelves full of dragons and elves, and adventures waiting to happen, with wizards and kings and wondrous things, all to make your heart gladden. You are never alone with a witch or a gnome, or a pixie, fairy, or grim, for all are at hand in this fantasy land to help whatever your whim. If you enter and dwell, you'll be caught in a spell of wonder, pleasure, and light. And the books on the shelves, the ones full of elves, are sure to please and delight. So why don't we meet at the end of the street in the dusty old shop full of magic, and escape for an hour to an ivory tower away from a world that's so tragic? So come, take my hand, forget what you planned for the day, as it just doesn't matter. Leave your trouble and pain outside in the rain, and come and meet the Mad Hatter. He's a fabulous bloke who will laugh at a joke, even when it's not funny. And Dormouse and Hare are sure to be there. Oh, and of course, the White Bunny. That was Rabbit. He changed it. When the sun leaves the sky and we say our goodbye, there'll be no sadness or sorrow, because we know in our hearts this is only the start. We can do it again tomorrow.
Beautiful.
And the message there is you can escape. Go into your books, go into your drawings, your paintings, your writing, whatever it is. You can do it again tomorrow.
Exactly.
And
And such an important message that, we need to reach out to different aspects that help us to be better, to withstand the storm, isn't it? This particular poem is very, very bright and colorful, but you also write a bit less colorful poetry. Would you like to tell us about this part of poetry?
Yeah, I also write about addiction and mental health, and some of these poems are quite dark. I don't plan them. I don't, they I write poems in up to about 20 minutes, and it just falls out of me. And I know you're gonna. I don't know how to minimize my page. I'll try that. It they these poems are dark, but I do try and end them on a positive note. Um, they come from the heart, and like I say, I don't plan them. They fall out of me. But what it does for me is it takes all the dark feeling and it takes it out of my head and puts it on a page. It's still there. It's still relevant, but it's now not fuzzing around in my head. I can take my feelings and put them on the page, and then I get
This
you.
is
I love.
amazing. It resonates with me because I very often refer to my, to the paintings because I mainly focus on mental health and states of mind.
Sure.
And when I draw or paint and it takes the form of something that I feel and I think about. I used to call it that I trap demons on the paper, so evict them from my brain and give them a voice, so they somehow exist, of course, and they are acknowledged. But then they become less loud in my mind. So I assume
Absolutely.
that you talk about a similar
Dorota,
practice.
can you still see me? Am I still on
Yes.
screen?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've gone into my folders and I before you ask me, oh, would you share one? Oh,
Yes, please.
okay. This is one. I've just pulled this one
Random
out,
one. Mhm.
but hopefully it will give you an idea or give people an idea of what happens. And like I say, these fall out of me uh, in minutes. This is note to self. Back in the day, I'd go out to play and wouldn't come home before dawn. Nights of speed, cocaine and weed, and wine, whiskey and song. The days went by fast, and I thought they would last, but now it appears I was wrong. The coke and the weed, and also the speed, were easy to kick out of my life, but the booze wouldn't go. It just brought me low, and drunk didn't feel like it used to. And now it's the bane, the cause of my pain, and I know it will make my life shorter. No matter how hard I've tried, pleaded and cried, the result was always the same. I'd end up in hell, inside my own cell, racked with my guilt and my shame. Clutching my head, I'd rather be dead than live one more life with this pain. So why don't you stop? Why go to the shop for one more bottle of Jack? Why don't you turn away, start a new day, and try to find a way back? Oh, believe me, I would if only I could. But that ship, I fear, has sailed. Like a lamb to the slaughter, I'll continue to torture myself until I am wrecked. And when I can't keep it down, on my vomit I'll drown, and then I'll take my last breath. No, don't follow me. There is help. Don't you see? It does not have to be this way. You can find a way out. Of that, there is no doubt. You can live for a much brighter day. There is a group out there, a group who will care, the fellowship called AA. Note to self, get help. Um,
Beautiful.
oh, I don't know how to get you back now, darling. Uh, Annie.
You need to.
Um, oh, no, I've got
Well,
you.
we can see you.
There
That's
we go. Now,
good.
please, yeah, that's a really heavy poem, one of my darkest. But the last verse is so important. There is help out there. You just need to reach out, and that was the place I was in, and I reached out, and and here I am today. Yeah, okay, today's not a great day. It's a bit of a dark cloud, but tomorrow's another day, and I'll crack on. And you know, Dorota, in the last few weeks, I've been in a really good place. Me blimmin' cat dying has not. It's
Yeah.
not.
Well, there is. I used to say that there is something about, that we pay for a little joy with few sorrows, and life seems like that. It is like everything has a price, and in particular, happiness and joy. For some reason, you feel great, and then you have another hurdle thrown at you, and it's like that. Life is like that, and it's about withstanding those storms, isn't it? About
Absolutely.
making it to another day. So even when you hung by the thread, if you reach out, you are more likely to to survive until it passes, because everything passes. Sometimes not enough quickly, we know that, right? But everything does. And I think that the main, and I think that you mentioned it while you were talking, that the acceptance of the fact that you will have good days, but you will also have bad days, and the acceptance of wanting to survive those bad days, because the good day will come, is a kind of main mission that every human really is living. It's just that those who have ill mental health may have difficulty to do it with ease. They will struggle in some way. So you mentioned in the poem about the organizations that help with alcohol dependency. Do you find them helpful? Do you still use them? What are your opinions there?
I know what you're referring to. I do still use them. What you have to remember is that your recovery is your own personal recovery, and not everything. For instance, AA meetings are fabulous, but there are certain things that, if, like myself, you are an atheist, which I personally am, although I have the utmost respect for people of faith, for people of religion, because that works for them. You may well find that there are certain things that do not resonate with you, but that's fine. That's okay. We're all different, and our recoveries are all personal to us. So I say cherry pick. Use what you feel works for you, and don't worry about the other stuff that maybe doesn't sit comfortably with you. What's important is to be with like-minded people, and AA is fabulous, but there is certain aspects of it which are sort of religion-led, your higher power, your God, whatever. That it doesn't matter that it doesn't resonate with me, because there's an awful lot I do get out of mixing or being with these like-minded souls who are all suffering the same illness. So what I would say to anybody is, look, it's not carved in stone. It's not black and white. It's your recovery, and you use what works for you in order to make yourself better. And if there's certain things that you don't relate to, that's fine. Just accept that that's somebody else's viewpoint, and you just work on yourself. And but yeah, I look, Dorota, I have to take medication. I've had to adjust it, and I would say to anybody, if your medication's not working, go and talk to your doctor, whoever, and get it adjusted, because not all medication works the same way for everybody. Like I said, our recovery is our own. Now, I've taken years and years of having to adjust my medication until I found some that doesn't zonk me out, doesn't make me stoned, doesn't. I can still sort of conduct myself. That's not the word, but but it also keeps me on a level platform. So I'm not too bipolar. I'm not going from pillar to post, high as a kite, low as a drain, and backwards and forwards. Takes a long time. What I would say though is don't rely on medication alone. Talk to someone. Talk, reach out, like-minded people. Um, Whether that's a professional person or just a friend who understands where you're at. Um, you know, that's more important than any medication you can take. Will be to talk to get therapy in that respect. They
Yeah.
work well together, the two of them. Get your meds right if you need to take meds, but then also make sure that you're venting your feelings off to a person, whoever that might be. Reach out, and the two together can keep you on an even keel. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
my advice.
Those groups that you mentioned, AAs, it's like they exist for so long time, and I think that these are the groups that society somehow accepts the existence. But when it comes to any other aspect of mental health, um, it's very unusual when you say about peer group supports. But this is actually how peer group support started to exist on the model of AA, right? That there are people who have similar problem and meet together to just be together and fight the problems together. So there is this aspect of belonging in it, isn't it? We belong
Absolutely,
because there is something that we experience that is in a common ground of our
absolutely,
experience.
yeah. And then
So
you
those
don't,
groups do work.
yeah, oh, 100%, because you then don't feel so alone. You don't feel at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm sitting here with my head in my hands. Uh, at least I know, look, Ian, you're not on your own. Even though I might at that time feel like I'm on my own, I know I'm not, because there's somebody out there I can reach out to who understands, who's been through or even going through the same situation, the same thoughts.
Yeah,
And
and that's very
yeah,
important.
yeah,
And the creativity, we talked about the dusty old shop. There is also another book of yours, which is The Hanging Tree.
hanging
And
tree, yeah,
that one is a short story for adults, because it's a bit it might be a bit scary
yeah.
for
It's dark.
children.
I like to see it as dark comedy, a bit of a ghost
Yeah,
story.
it is.
A
So
bit tongue in
we
cheek.
see those two brilliant books out. What is the next step? What is the next project?
Oh, well, I've got a book of poetry that I want to publish, and I want to donate the proceeds to Mind, who brought us together, who you are going to illustrate for me. I don't even pay her. It's amazing. Um, but that's a really important. Now, it is dark, but I hope that it ends on a positive. But that's going to be a book of poetry that I would like to publish next. I've got a novel written. It's just going through its last stages of editing and proofreading. Uh, that I hope to come out early next year. And I'm writing a new. Oh, I'm such a happy chap. I'm writing a new thing about Jack the Ripper, an alternative uh, story about Jack the Ripper. It's fantasy, but it also uses some of the historical situations or things that happened and some of the people that were involved. But so that's ongoing. And can I say though, what's important to get out of this is the creativity, the art is my medicine, which I'm using from you, Dorota, and but that really it's not important about how whether the books sell or whether they don't. That's not why I do it. I do it because finding that creativity, and my particular creativity is writing and poetry and whatever, but whatever it is that gives you an outlet. Start with a scribble on a clean piece of paper, and then go from there. Write down what you're feeling. And all of a sudden you'll think that's a poem or that's a story.
Well, actually, it's funny that you say that. My very good friend recently approached me saying that he wrote an accidental poem. And I was like, how can you write an accidental poem? He said, because I never ever written anything in my life, and just typed few words, and I realized that it's a poem. So it can happen, doesn't it? The creativity can spark
100%.
when you least expect it. And it's like any kind of group of words can be treated as a poem. Really, it doesn't need to rhyme. We have haiku and other forms. So it's really just trying it out, right, and see what speaks to you, because that spark that we feel when we create, or when we find the purpose. It could be gardening, it could be cooking, it could be any passion. But that passion,
I know. I didn't know I could write poetry. Maybe some people will say, well, you can't, but I can. For me, I didn't know I could write stories, books, whatever, until somebody said, can you write an email? Yeah, well, you can write a story or book. And all of a sudden, there's all these things that have come out of me, and I don't know where it came from. I just started with a blank piece of paper. And from that point, it's led me to, it's changed my life. It's led me to be friends with like-minded people, to have support, to know that I'm not on my own, to have people to reach out to, and that's art, that's creativity,
and this is exactly what is important. That when you embrace your passion, whatever it is, writing, drawing, cooking, running, when you do that, you somehow send the energy that people who like similar thing, have similar passion, are attracted to. And before you know it, you are not alone. Before you know it, you build a nice community which supports each other. And passion, for that reason, is like medicine, because it provides you with something to hold on to. Because in the dark moments, and you know it the best, that when this dark cloud approaches, you feel so lonely, so alone, and so nothing makes sense, right? But when you have that passion, you can hold on to it, and you can, like you said, I found myself sometimes just writing one word, very often not very very good one to say aloud.
I use those words all the time. That's the release. That is like saying, to get it out of your head, just to get it somewhere where it's still relevant and it's still there, but it's on the page next to you, which clears your brain, clears your mind. Say, right, how do I go forward from here? Who do I reach out to? What do I need to do? Do I need to, what do I want to do? And that is just so important. Vent.
And any creative outlet is contagious, isn't it?
Mate, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Exactly.
I'm building train sets. I'm 58 years old, and I've decided I wanted a little train to go around my Christmas tree. About a horrible amount of money later, I've got an 8x6 layout in my loft.
Wow.
But then it's creative. It's just like, and that's my escape. I can go up there and go, I'm going to drive some trains, and it's so important to have.
It is.
For me, to have that outlet, that place I can escape to, whether it's in a book that I'm reading, whether it's in a book that I'm writing, or a poem that I'm writing, or a poem that I'm reading. Those are my safe places, my comfort blanket, my my place where I can sit quietly and just not worry about, accept my dark cloud, accept that I might not be feeling fabulous that day. Just let it be as it is, let it be what it is, knowing that it will pass, and that, you know, I've and I'm not alone. I think that's, I think one thing about mental health, Dorota, is we feel very alone. We think that we're the only person in the world, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning, but we're not. There are like-minded people out there, people we can reach out to, people that care, and those people have saved my life. And I'm sure that anybody who does the same, it'll help them as well.
Definitely. Well, we need to withstand those storms, and you have many ways that you could support yourself to withstand those storms. And yeah, please, people, embrace your creativity, embrace your passions, because this is something that gives you purpose, and that purpose is the anchor that keep you among us, that keep you alive. So yeah, we couldn't advertise it more, I think.
Yeah.
We are heading towards the end of our airtime, so it's a time to share my surprise for you. I always paint or draw something for my guests. So I focus on them for a moment before the podcast, and think about them, what I know, what I don't maybe know. But I believe that everybody sends energy, and that is why my drawings have no direction. I approach the paper, just think about the person that I'm meeting on my podcast, and try to doodle and play about. So I did the same for you, and the outcome surprised me, surprised my partner, because it started from the eye of a bird and evolved into something else. And that initiative that I am running for my guests is to give back. Mental health warriors depend on donations. Therefore, I'm trying to raise funds for them. So I offer that painting to my guests for whatever money, and 20% of the profits go to mental health warriors to make sure that they can pay the bills for platforms we are running the podcasts on. So are you ready? Would you like to see it?
I would. But I'm going to get emotion.
Oh! Need to reach it. I will, of course, send you a digital copy to see it better, because, of course, on the camera it may not be.
Oh, wow.
And if you look well, there is a particular birdie hidden there.
I can see.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yes, this
So that's
painting is
fabulous. I
yours.
will. We'll speak after, and I'll
Yeah.
arrange. I would like that, please.
Of course, of course.
Definitely.
I knew that you would, and it's
Yeah.
there is another aspect of creativity, that when you let it flow, when you live with it, when you embrace it rather than force it, magical things happen.
I couldn't have
And
said
so
that.
many times we had those moments together that I was able to portray something that you felt,
Yeah.
and you said some words or wrote poem that I felt inspired by. And this is what I want our listeners and those who watch to know, that creativity is contagious, and a little aspect, a little act of creativity may inspire another person, may give them the purpose, may fish them out from the dark cloud and hole they might be hiding it. So that is why it's so important that even if you don't think that it's for you, maybe if you embrace that creativity, you will give a gift of kindness and inspiration to another soul. And I think for that reason it's so important to do what you love, and share it with others.
Absolutely. Couldn't have put it better myself, Dorota. That, yeah. Bless you from my heart.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for, and thank you to the mental health warriors across the board who all give back and are all there for people like myself, to reach out to. It's a fabulous charity, and if you can afford to, please give what you can to make.
Every little matters,
Absolutely.
as quoting certain slogan, but it's pretty good one, isn't it?
If you can, if you can afford to,
Of course.
however little, just if you can make a donation, that'd be fabulous. But if not, they're still there for you. It doesn't, it's free. It's a free support network, a free service. So
Indeed.
use
So we are happy always to be approached. Would you like to be a guest? You can contact us as well. And yeah, I think that we are towards the end of our time. So I always like to, like you, finish your poems on a good note. I love to end on the positive note. So if you have any affirmation you sometimes use to keep yourself in balanced state, would you share what others could affirm for?
Oh, blimey, do I talk about put me on the spot?
Sorry.
Okay. I'm going to use some lyrics from an old Motown song, and it just says, "Reach out, I'll be there to love and comfort you." And that's all I can say. I will be there for anybody who wants to reach out to me, as I know that people will be there when I need to reach out to them. Uh, Spread the love, spread the kindness, love yourself, love each other, and you're not alone. You're not alone.
Indeed.
Be strong, and sending all my love.
Thank you so much, Ian, for coming and sharing your wisdom. And we are looking forward to your next project. But those two books are available on Amazon. So whoever got intrigued, please grab a copy. And I'm sure that we will meet again because of our projects. We always have a lot to talk about. But wishing you a lovely weekend and tune
Bless
in
you.
2 weeks for next episode. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bless you. Bless you all. Lots of love.
Lots of love, indeed.